Hey guys, it's Paul with the Ugly Motel. Today we're going to be talking with somebody that was able to open up 2 high-end hotels in the middle of Orlando, Florida during the start of the pandemic. Not only did she hire an entire staff, let them go for the pandemic, rehire a new staff, she had to completely launch a second hotel all in the last 2 years while I've been trying to make my ugly motel not so ugly. So today we'll be learning how she did it and also what kind of tips she has for us going into 2022 for our staffing needs. This is Diana, and she is the general manager here at TRYP by Wyndham in Orlando, Florida. So we're going to be doing a little mini series on how to properly staff your hotel coming back from the pandemic. And we're hoping that Diana's going to be able to give us some tricks and tips on what exactly they're doing to make sure they have a successful return into the hospitality industry. From what I understand, you guys didn't really do too bad through the entire pandemic. Is that right?
Well, we had just opened the LaQuinta in November of 2019.
Okay.
Just gotten in our groove, everything was going great, and the world stopped. So unfortunately, we had to let go of the entire staff.
Oh my.
For about 2 months. It was just 4 of us, 3 of us living on property for about 2.5 months.
Gosh.
We were fortunate enough to offer them their jobs back there shortly. Some returned. Some decided not to, some decided to stay with their families or they found another job. But we shifted from kind of reestablishing the LaQuinta to pre-opening and opening the TRYP. The TRYP opened in November of 2020.
Okay, wow, geez, that's awesome. From there.
Yeah. Opened 2 hotels in 2 years.
Opened 2 hotels during the middle of the pandemic. You're a shared GM between the 2 properties, right? The thing I love about TRYP, if you guys haven't heard of them, are they newer in general or are they just newer to?
Newer to the US.
Newer to the United States. They're the millennial hotel. This hotel, I've been all over the world. This hotel I walk in and I feel like this is me. And that's the demographic, right? That's correct. And so it makes sense that they're right in the middle of Orlando, Florida, literally 5 minutes away from everything. Quick shout out to Bruce Jordan for hooking me up with this interview. If you guys haven't seen his channel, he does some really cool stuff where he puts hotels against each other to show what things that they're doing really good inside of their areas and areas that they can improve on. And I can't believe this hotel didn't win. Like I was actually chatting with him last night. So my questions for you, starting off with the TRYP Hotel, how did you find your staff? We're having a hard time trying to find people that are qualified, interested and able to work and can accommodate the new rules of childcare and stuff. How were you able to find staff?
Those are 100% of the issues we have now. We were very fortunate a year ago via Facebook or Indeed advertising, word of mouth, networking. We were able to staff the hotel for the pre-opening and everything was going great until we hit a standstill again, and then the business picked up. And since the business picked up, now we're struggling to find more applicants, trying to be creative in the way we reach out, whether it's through Indeed or ZipRecruiter, but mostly social media. So okay. Facebook, Instagram.
Do you find that you're hiring a lot of people that have experience in hospitality, or do you find that you're hiring people that are inexperienced and you're training them? And how much of that is Wyndham training versus how much of that is your cultural training? I think we're going to have to be, instead of our price point, I think we're going to have to be doing a lot more training people that are inexperienced.
Which is probably speaks what's going on right now is right now we're hiring a lot of people that do not have that industry experience, or maybe they've worked at retail as customer service. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit different than hotels. They've worked in restaurants. It's a little bit different than a breakfast here at the hotel. So we have our brand training, which is Wyndham University. They have to go through all their Wyndham University training. They have their systems training. So if it's a front desk, they learn that. They go through department training. Okay. So each department has their own training program and training guidelines, and we stretch it out within a front desk is usually a 3-week training process. Housekeeping's a week. Most other positions about a week and a half. So we can break it down. So franchise, us, and then position.
How many people do you have on staff for this side of the hotel?
So all department heads, so the general manager, director of sales, my assistant general manager, and our director of rooms. We over here at TRYP, we probably have a team of probably 17 people total. That includes housekeeping and front desk and maintenance.
Have a percentage of revenue that you shoot for, that other people should be shooting for. It's really useful for me because I have no idea how to budget it. I want to get to this level. We have a massive facility, but again, we're struggling coming back from 20 years of independent hotel. And Holidome was a big thing, but then as it slid into others, it's just a massive undertaking. And then of course the renovation side of it, you're doing more renovation than you are hospitality.
The biggest thing is your staffing guidelines. So you said 135 rooms, about 140 rooms. Yeah, you can get away with one person at the desk each shift. If If you have a sold out or a citywide, you want that extra support there so they're not left by themselves. Maintenance, one person per shift, probably mid or evening, so they can. Everybody's there during the day, but at night they need that. The front desk needs that support, so you have a maintenance person working in the evenings. Like I said, evening housekeeping. Yeah. So typically, don't schedule everybody so early.
Okay.
Whereas at 5, 6 o'clock, the front desk is left by themselves. That's tough.
So when would you have maintenance come on? I usually do an 8-hour shift for my maintenance, but I usually have them there at 7.
Rooms in the morning are typically occupied by guests.
Right.
They check out at noon. So we have maintenance come in from 11 to 7.
Okay.
Except on weekends, they work more 2 to 10 or 3 to 11. Because especially on weekends, especially in this area, we have a lot of late arrivals. So they might check into the room and say, hey, I can't get my safe to work. Can you assist me? Maintenance can help. Housekeeping, you don't really have one person in the evenings. Do the lobby, be a runner position.
Right.
So guest calls, they want extra towels or they need something in their room, you have that runner position. And then room attendance is based on minutes per occupied room. So you have to look at your room, how long does it take to clean it, and that's a formula.
Right.
So that's a little bit easier to.
And right now, I think Wyndham standard is it's once every 3 days for a long stay. Okay. That saves a little bit with labor costs, but it also means that at the end of the 3 days, it's going to be a little bit more of a cleanup. I think
there's a little bit of a catch-22 on that one.
Are you guys still looking for staff?
We are.
So hey guys, if you're looking for a great place to work and you're in the Orlando, Florida area or willing to move to the Orlando, Florida area,
they can start immediately.
There we go. Another quick question for you. I noticed with your staff that they have almost like a Disney feel. Everybody's bubbly, everybody's happy. Everybody has had a greeting or said in some way or another, hey, can I assist you? Even if I'm just going to get a coffee. It's one of those things, I see that you have a very proactive staff. How are you hiring for that? Are you training for that? Is that just part of the culture here in Orlando?
That's part of our culture here, and that's a prerequisite. You have to be happy to work here. You can't train that. It has to come from within you. And we're so fortunate to have some superstars work with us that they get mentioned on reviews and online surveys all the time. And that's great because you can't teach that.
Right.
That comes from them.
That's awesome.
If someone's new to the industry and they don't understand it, and you coach them and just kind of mentor them, you can turn them around. Some people, you can't do it with everybody, but I'm a firm believer in giving everybody a chance.
How do you define the culture? What type of person are you finding that is a good fit for this side of the hotel, but also for LaQuinta?
So either hotel, we look at someone who wants to have fun, someone who's happy and wants to have fun. We try to make it challenging and exciting for each employee. We have our employee luncheons, we have games that we have little monthly competitions, incentive programs, because you have to like where you work.
Right.
So you have to like where you work and where you're going to spend time and who you work with.
How do you compensate your employees? Starting off with like housekeeping and front desk, do you find that you have to be a lot more competitive? Are you doing any kind of interesting incentive programs to ensure that your numbers are staying up?
So this is a very competitive market, and the labor market has changed 100% from what we're pre-pandemic, what we were used to. We had to reevaluate positions, we had to reevaluate job descriptions and goals, and what we did is we did a wage analysis of the area. So we want to be competitive with our direct area and be able to offer what we can, because we're not a 500-room hotel, we're not a big property.
How many rooms do you have?
So we have 98 here at TRYP and 101 next door.
Okay, that's still massive to me. we have 138, and I feel like that's just too much. You know?
So the wage analysis was really important, because what happened was all the companies started competing with each other, trying to get the right employee, and we can't compete with many hotels. So it has to be about the culture. It has to be when someone comes to interview that they feel comfortable and they like what they see and they want to be a part of the team.
So my biggest question, a lot of hotel owners are having to work and become their own GMs. And now that we're finally able to step away from that. This video has been sponsored by Citadel FM. If you don't know who they are, they pay you $50 a month to play ambient music like what I'm playing in the background of your venue. That's $600 a year. You gotta choose what variety of music you're playing. The best part, they send you all the equipment you need, including an Alexa device, a wireless router, and anything else you need to get set up. And they're great with tech support. It's literally a plug, play, and get paid thing. And now with Citadel Life, it's not just for hotels. It could be any common area. If you're wondering if you qualify or if your venue's big enough, apply to the link down below. The worst that can happen is they can tell you no. If it's something you're not doing yet, you're literally leaving money on the table, and your guests don't get the great music. A lot of hotel owners are having to work and become their own GMs. And now that we're finally able to step away from that, we have a little bit extra play money. We want to hand that back off so we can focus on growing the business rather than running the business. So I guess My big question, this is the thing that I'm struggling with personally, what qualification do you look for instead of a GM? How do you find that in this market? How do you give a competitive package? And are there any incentives that TRYP has offered you to help ensure that you want to stay working for this company instead of a different hotel?
Sure. As far as compensation and benefits, you have to do a benefits analysis with your comp set, your competitive set in the area. You have to know what everybody else is offering. Not necessarily you can offer the same thing,
right,
but something mutually. Here we're partner hotels with two major theme parks, SeaWorld and Universal Orlando.
Right.
So we have the ability to offer them tickets and admission to the parks. One of the things that we had to do is reevaluate the entire hiring, interviewing process. When it comes to department heads or general managers and you look at a resume, only give that resume so much, because when you have someone that's worked in the industry for 30 plus years and you try to fit it in a one-page resume, it's kind of tough. So get to meet the person and talk about statistics, but also get to know the personality of that person and ask yourself, in the 5 minutes that I met with that individual, is that the person I want representing my company, representing my hotel? And that's what we do here, is we pay attention to the resume. Obviously we want to see where they've worked before, we want to see what kind of experience they have. But I'm a firm believer in not hiring just based on experience.
Right.
You have to hire based on personality, based on goals. When we reevaluated the whole process, if an employee can only work 20 hours a week, then that's what we want to offer them. It doesn't have to be a set cookie cutter. You have to work 40 hours a week. You have to work this shift at the front desk. You have to work this days in housekeeping. Maybe there's an employee that wants to learn a different position, so they come in housekeeping and they part-time at the front desk. You have to provide that flexibility. Priorities have changed.
Right.
Employees and job seekers, their priorities have changed, so you have to be able to offer them that flexibility.
Do you think that you guys are going to have to continue to raise rates? In my market in Lincoln, Nebraska, we've seen you really can't, our minimum wage is $9, but you really can't hire anybody less than 12. That means that you have to charge more for your rooms, and that means you have to charge more. And so I'm not saying that there's insane inflation coming, but I know we're raising rates. Do you think that's going to be a trend here in Orlando, or are you guys going to be sheltered from that because of just the tourist industry that's driving your market?
We're absolutely in it. You have to realize cost of living. In terms of minimum wage, there's no bridge right there between minimum wage. So you have to analyze that, as well as you think of employees and you think of certain positions, and you have to have that flexibility also to offer more or less to help them out. You don't want to lose a great employee over $1. Whereas some employees, it's not necessarily the rate of pay, it's the benefits or the flexibility. I can only work until 1 o'clock because I have to pick up my child from school at 2,
right.
Or I can only work evenings for 4. It falls on us to work that schedule to allow for that, because obviously rate of pay is important, but it's not everything to everybody.
The industry seems to be looking like it's moving towards automation in the future. Do you guys have any plans to have self-check-in kiosks? Do you guys think that's going to be a larger part of helping offset the cost of labor, helping you reach your goals to keep your labor costs down?
100%. A lot of people love digital check-in or mobile check-in. Seasoned travelers don't necessarily need to go to the front desk. I don't need to hear the check-in spiel. I just want to go to my room, get to work. Whereas some people that are here on vacation, they want that conversation piece. They want that one-on-one. So it's neat to be able to offer either or. So you can do everything on your phone, from check-in to open your room with a Bluetooth-enabled phone. We just signed a contract to get that done.
Nice. It was so hard for me. We just upgraded our door locks too. We went to RFID, and I have the ability to, in the future, upgrade. So they're upgradable, but it was like an extra $30,000,
Yes.
and I'm like, I can't do it right now. So that's awesome. I love that idea. This is my dream hotel. I want one of these. So
We'll make it happen.
no joke. I'm serious. I need one in Lincoln, Nebraska.
We need more in the U.S.
Yep.
Let's get it going.
Awesome. Thanks again for taking the time, for stopping and talking, and just giving us some advice on how to build our hotel teams. And honestly, the maintenance thing is the piece of gold that I'm going to take away from this. I don't know why the heck my maintenance guys have been there so early. My hotel in the past, it might have made sense, but going forward, that's gold. Maintenance afternoon. Do you have any other words of advice, any other sage advice you can give us?
It's been a pleasure. I enjoyed meeting you. I hope we stay in touch. I'm really excited to see your product in Nebraska. But if we've learned anything with this pandemic, it's the good old friends word, pivot. And you have to keep pivoting and learning and just staying open to different ideas, hiring different types of people with different backgrounds and experiences, because everybody brings something special to the table, and you could untap some hidden talent potential there.
That's true, 100%. Thanks again. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.